Hello and welcome to a new season of Clusters. As you may have heard, we're going to be studying the book of Acts this term. Now, many of you will be familiar with the basic theme behind the book, but in case you're not, let me give you a brief overview. Acts, or the Acts of the Apostles, was written by the same author as the Gospel of Luke. He wasn't one of the 12 disciples. In fact, he wasn't even Jewish, but was a Greek doctor who travelled with the Apostle Paul on some of his missionary journeys. He never even mentions himself by name. But the earliest traditions strongly link these books to this man Luke, who is mentioned on 3 occasions in Paul's letters. Both of his books are written to a man named Theophilus, a name which means lover of God, promising that he's carefully investigated everything from the beginning and has decided to write an orderly account that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught. Luke sets out his credentials at the beginning of his gospel, that he's a man who has thoroughly researched his subject and can be trusted to write accurately and to write the truth. And now he clearly writes the book of Acts to be a sequel to his gospel, even reminding Theophilus in chapter 1 verse 1 that in my former book I wrote about all the things that Jesus began to do and to teach. Now, what do you think Luke meant by the use of that word began? It's quite intriguing. Having described the life, death and resurrection of Jesus in some detail, Luke now undertakes the task of relating what happened next. His book therefore examines the beginnings of the Christian church and the struggles of Jesus' disciples. Later, he'll focus on the conversion of Paul and the missionary journeys to Greece and Turkey that Luke joined him on, ending with Paul's eventual arrest and transport to Rome. But at the beginning of his book, he relates to us 2 events. The first connects us back to the end of his gospel and to the last time his disciples had seen Jesus. In his final words to them before being taken up to heaven, he promises the 11 remaining disciples that he will send the Holy Spirit on them in power. The second tells the story of how the disciples went about replacing Judas Iscariot to return the band of brothers to 12, a symbolic number that links them back to the 12 tribes of Israel of the Old Testament. As usual, you can find questions for this week attached below this video, as well as on this week's Clusters email. And don't forget to pray about the passage and what you've been learning, as well as, of course, for one another. Have a great cluster.